Hey there, Smite fans. Welcome to the picking and banning stage. It's Snipe versus Cognitive Red. We had a pretty silly little delay there. We actually, somehow me and Scott loaded up the wrong replay, so sorry, that one's on us. But we are ready to go with Snipe versus Cog Red. Thor banned out by Snipe here, already ready to go. Cog Red's going to take out Nemesis, so strong jungle controlling assassins off the board right away for these teams.
Yeah, and no shocker at all that we see Thor gone, and then you're going to see Nemesis, right? Weekend's been playing out of his mind recently. He brings a mean Nemesis game into it, but I don't think they do a respect ban of Arachne just yet. He's 1-1 with them, and it's like, Cog Red's like, I dare you to take Arachne.
Yeah,
they're like, we dare you.
They would be okay. So Geb gets banned out by Snipe. Cognitive Red's going to ban out Serket. As we've kind of been saying, it looks a little bit like there's a trend here that Geb being a very strong answer to Serket, and when you see him banned out from the first pick position, they're sometimes looking for that or the Nuwa or a Ra. So Cognitive Red's going to ban out Serket. They don't want to play against it, and they don't want to give it away as a first pick. And now they're going to take a look at Vulcan. And we did see Snoopy run that in the Hunter position before.
I didn't know he wasn't nearly as dominant with Vulcan as he is, like, his Apollo or his Rom, which are both on the table that he can easily grab. And it may not necessarily be Snoopy. Obviously, they could see it could be Divios in there, but most likely it is going to be Snoopy. He's been playing it so much in ranked. He's been playing it so much in ranked, but it's just like, God. Well, on to the other side of things, we're seeing a hover over Bacchus and Freya, and they're just going to go ahead and lock that in there. So Freya could be the hunter, could be the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the thing about picking Vulcan in the first pick position, right? Like, you're going to have some other things on the board that are very good. So Snipe does get that Ra, likely for the mid laner, one would suspect, and they're going to have Freya as well to back that up. So a lot of magic damage on the table and the resiliency from Ra as well. And to combat that, Cognitive Red is taking a lot of damage in CC control, especially AoE crowd control seems to be. Like, Athena has very obvious synergies with Vulcan. Taunt multiple targets. You have the meatball to further kind of CC chain them there. And then, obviously, the Hunbots brings his ultimate as well to the yard. I think that, I mean, it looks like they're trying to set up for that Earthshaker ultimate from Vulcan a little bit. Such an unreliable spell, though.
Yeah, very, very unreliable. It really comes down, like, you almost have to predict everything perfectly, right? And, the Athena taught's going to help, but obviously, even with the Hunbat's Fear No Evil, it's still going to fear him out, so he has to lead it right. Luckily, the radius is, like, the size of the frickin' lane.
Yeah, it's
so
just not a tough one to hit.
No, not at all. So, I really like the Hunbats, though. I mean, we have seen Gars, that's his tier 2. That he's 5-0 with this guy as well, so he really
Who isn't Gars 5-0 with these days?
Right? It's like crappiest one. He's like, yeah, I'm like 4-1.
Well, looking at our final bans here, Guan Yu and Giannis off the board. So Guan Yu not going to be the solo laner for Snipe, and, well, Giannis not going to be going the way of Divios. However, there is an Agni now on the mid lane, likely for Cognitive Red, and Vamana and Bastet picked up for Snipe. So Snipe has a very kind of extended engagement-based team.
Yep.
Rod is very well in long engagements. Freya has a kind of 6 to 8 second period where she wants to do damage. You have Vamana, who's a very tanky presence and brings that long extended fight, and Bastet able to get in and out with the dots as well. A good draft, I think, from Snipe, but Cognitive Red's going to lock in the Lawbringer. They're going to take tier here for Divios, and, well, you got to love it, right? Because, I mean, this character is statistically, honestly, one of the lower-end characters, and in the Pro League, he is way overperforming what really we see in the rest of the game, and it's basically all thanks to Divios.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy when Divios can grab any god and basically crush. I was actually really hoping for a Cabrakan. He's been bringing the Cabrakan into the solo lane, and he loves it. I mean, the 2 does copious amounts of damage. And
there's plenty there. Yeah, it'll hit you.
Wow,
it'll give you like a strong 320
you can do the little stampede, the taunt.
That's right. I mean, like, you look at him, and when we talk about Cabrakan, I always like to kind of liken him to like Fat Loki, basically. Okay. He's like a Loki.
Yeah, I knew you were
big
trying
and
to
just kind of like
this.
He can go fast, right? So, like, with Cabrakan, it seems like you kind of bait out slows, then you activate your 1, and then you run them down, and then it's like 1-2, and if you have minion aggro, that's like 1,000 damage. And it's like, what do you do about it? And then he's resilient on top of it all, and then you bring the ultimate to the damage table as well. But let's go back to this game where Divios will be playing the tier, and, well, it makes a lot of sense with the lineup, right? It's a heavy control-based lineup, range stuns on Agni, big ultimate from Hunbots, AoE taunts to set up the Earthshaker. And then you bring Divios to the table on tier, more control, more opportunities to set up that big burst that they have.
I mean, they have a lot of CC thrown in here. I mean, just with the Boosh with Agni, I don't even know if we've even seen Boosh play Agni, but I can only imagine the plays that we're probably going to see from him on that. I mean, not only is Agni super safe, but he has so much chain CC that he can do and does so much damage. I gotta imagine that's like a mixture for nightmare for Snipe.
Yeah,
right?
it's quite a bit here. Well, I think with that, we should be ready to get into the game here. And, well, it's going to be kind of the tale of control versus this limited sustain that Ra can bring and that long kind of extended fight that they're looking for. Let's go ahead and pop on in and take a look here. As we are underway, ladies and gentlemen, it is Snipe versus Cognitive Red. Snipe has to win this game to continue to pressure Dignitas. And Cognitive Red, well, they've locked the #1 overall seed. They're just here for the CC, it appears, as it's going to be the blue team as Snipe. It is Bastet in the jungle for Weaken. Allied is going to be in the Hunter lane. Hold, I thought actually there's a little bit of engagement on the left side, but they're going to fall back.
You're good.
Allied will be in the Hunter role as Freya. Jerby in the mid lane as Ra. And Continentia will be your support as the big man Bacchus. And finally in the solo lane, it is Kiki as Vamana. On the other side of the map, they are wearing the red trunks, and they are fighting for the #1 lock seed in North America, Cognitive Red, if Snoopy pairing up with Yannick for the duo lane as Vulcan and Athena. Divios will be in the solo lane as Tyr, Gars out of the jungle as Hunbots, and finally, it leaves the Boosh as Agni.
Last but certainly not least. Now, the one thing to note here is if you take a look at Weekend here, you notice he did not get his pounce first, which means we won't see him try to go for one of those sneaky invades and try to just steal the speed buff and hop back like we saw Lassus try to do last night. Instead, he's going to be just looking to do a little bit more damage just because of Bacchus, right? And Bacchus was able to get that a little bit of initiation, but they weren't able to follow it up there. So shouldn't be anything crazy here in this early stage.
Second game in a row, we're going to see this kind of tanky presence on the Chaos side. Last game was Vamana. This game is going to be Divios that go and challenge that camp, forcing out the Hog on the right side. And yeah, Scott's pointing out to me here, the backside XP camp actually was started by Snipe. They're going to rely on the very fast AoE clear from Freya at early levels along with the burp to get that early XP camp, and then they're going to hog out the blue buff here. So they will lose a little bit of experience. You can see Ionic running into the lane, getting that shield wall out, and going to try to get some lane advantage off of it. And, well, that helps out Vulcan a little bit because his clear is going to be really most effective kind of in that level 5, 6, 7 range is what he's looking for.
Yeah, and I don't know how Allied plans on playing this, but he has to be super safe. I mean, there's going to be a lot of meatballs being thrown his way. You mix that in with the turrets as well, and I mean, I just don't know how they're going to engage on this at all. It's really relying solely on incom.
Yeah, that's kind of the danger, right? He can place that defensive turret a little bit behind where the waves are meeting, and then if Snipe tries to aggress too heavily into it, they can get pulled into a taunt and then a meatball CC chain and take 3-4 hits from that. Here you will see it in action, the taunt into the meatball there. And it's dirty. Yeah,
and Ionic, I don't know how many times we've actually seen him play Athena, but you can bet your ass that he's fantastic with Athena.
Yes,
there's no doubt about that.
It's going to be quite all right. It's not his signature Geb. That was, of course, banned out in the picking phase, but he's just making it work. I mean, this lane just seems to make a lot of sense in the duo lane, Athena and Vulcan. If you are going to run the Vulcan as your hunter, that being said, Athena makes a lot of sense to me as the optimal kind of pairing.
Yep. Now, here's something that's really good about Ra is obviously he was able to go back there with Bastet and get that speed buff. So they're able to split that camp because he has such good wave clear, which is going to give him a little bit of an advantage, but still at the end of the day, it's all about these mid-harpies.
Right, yeah. I mean, getting that assist gold, very important with the Bumba's Mask. That item does allow for kind of free XP share. You don't really split it. You just kind of both get credit for it. So you want to try to, you'll see the mid laners most often rotate with the junglers to split XP on camps.
There is nothing more annoying than Vamana's slow. Like, you never realize it. And speaking of which, Divios almost able to have a kill potential. He juggled him right into the tower there. And that's the thing about Tyr is so many people sleep on how much
really
CC he has.
He's 1 minion from level 5 there. If he would have gotten the ultimate, look for him maybe to engage here. Is he going to jump in, I wonder? As they fall down, he may go right for Kiki, but no, I think Kiki has healed up enough now that Divios is just going to go ahead and fall back, finish off his boots, or start them, or perhaps finish out the Smithy's Hammer into Rune Forge. We'll see what that is, of course. Nothing else really going on around the map right now. I mean, it's very it seems very farm centric. I mean, I think that Bacchus Freya are going to be fairly pinned here. Yep. It's not a lane they can aggress into for reasons we've stated. There's a lot of kill potential in the mid as well from Cogred. As we said, the CC change is so good at this stage of the game. And Ra likes to farm. Yeah. Ra's happy to sit back and farm
that's what he wants.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, I'll wait for the guaranteed fights here. Not a big deal at all. I want you guys to kind of just let me get online. And so, right Harpies are going to go to Cog Red, and Weaken's not in a position. Is he going to go for the pounce and steal and jump away? He might be in trouble if he did that, and Cogred says, nope, we're going to go ahead and hand this. Secures that, and they're going to take a little bit of a lead. And as you look at the graphs, I mean, it is just 900 XP difference solely based on the Harpies, and the gold's only 150.
Yeah, it's still very, very tight game.
Very tight.
And like we said, you know, this is a big game for Snipe. And this is a game where Cog Red is, not playing with any kind of pressure. So you can see they've picked some unconventional stuff. I mean, it's kind of becoming more normal for them, but it's working out so far at least. But look at Weekend on the backside here. He's got a great angle on Boosh. Boosh, of course, does have the dash. He's put a lot of harass on the Jerby, and Jerby's going to try to play forward, and that's going to play right into Guard's hand if he can close the distance, but I don't think he will. Jerby spots that one out, and with that speed of light, passive Ra able to scoot right on out of there.
Yeah, everyone sleeps on Ra's movement, right? And, on top of that, he has the slow, which no one's ever going to just be like, oh, I'm going to beats out of this, right?
Yeah,
You just take it. You're like, okay, I just got to dodge this Celestial Beam, or I am dead 100% of the time.
Weekend now going to try his hand at a attack on Divios here. He will find the slow. There's the bonus damage as well coming out from the scratch, but Divios tier just too dangerous at this stage in the game. The CC chain with the minions coming in would have been a lot of damage on the Weekend. There comes the heal as well, and you can see just why this god is still picked, even though, like we said, he's not favored really by anybody
not at
but
all.
Divios.
Yeah, not at all. And Divios, you can just see, he's so confident in this play, in his play style with tier that he's just like, oh, there's two of them? Oh, it's Weekend and Kiki? Meh. I'm not worried about it. Vamana had barely any mana at that time, so he was like, well, I don't have to worry about Colossal Fury. I don't really have to worry about his slow. I can pretty much just destroy him if worst case comes.
I think you really hit the nail on the head kind of talking about his playstyle, his comfort with his own playstyle on the tier. As you see, there's a teleport to towers coming out now. It's improved teleport rank 2 already for Divios, and he's back to lane. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like, talking about his confidence in his playstyle here, it feels a little bit like when he first started picking Giannis, where it's a lot of it is that people don't really understand exactly how he's going to play it, and he kind of has a very, very strong game plan going in. He's like, this is how I'm going to play this. I know what I'm going for, and I know what I can get away with. Right, it seems to be the big piece. Now over time, people have learned to react to the Giannis play. They still ban it out often against him, but tier still has that little bit of knowledge gap. I feel like the matchup you just don't see it very often.
No, yeah, not at all. And the big thing about Divios is that, when you first start getting good at Smite and you're like, oh, okay, I can aggress on this lane, I'm in my position. Even at the professional level, he's aggressing every single time, and sometimes the matchups, depending on who he's playing against, player-wise, they're not ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him take Fenrir into the solo lane a few times.
Oh, God, yeah.
Really bad matchups and just kind of make it happen. Right, he didn't get super ahead, but he just made it happen for himself. Kiki, well, they could go for this if they really want to heavily commit, but it doesn't look like it's just going to be the right side mid-camp. It's got to be picked up by Cockred.
And Jerby could blow Searing Pain if he really wanted to. He's obviously not going to, as they're going to be set up for this. They do have to be careful. Cogred's going to be coming. They're going to burn that hand.
None of that.
Yeah, they wanted no piece of that. And notice how they take the safe route here. They knew that there was an Athena there, as well as the chain CC there coming out of the bush. So they go all the way around. So they miss a little bit, but not much at all, as Jerby's actually able to get there and get that wave completely. So the one question I kind of have for you, Bart, is Vulcan in a one-on-one basically versus Allied, which is now what we're going to be seeing pretty much for the duration of the game. How does that even work?
Well, see, the nice thing here for Snoopy on the Vulcan is that really what Freya wants to do is she wants to start hitting you from range and using the duration of her spells, so the pulse, obviously the range, irradiate, and being the melee stem. And she wants to basically continue to hit you with Fatalis and chase you down. But what's great is that Snoopy has the meatball, which can interrupt that chain. So he can hit her with the meatball and backfire his 1, which will push him far enough away, in addition to a well-placed knockback from the 3, and make enough distance that you can't really chase him down effectively. You'll have to burn Valkyrie's Discretion to kind of seal additional damage. So it's relatively safe for Snoopy, but that Fatalis is online, and if she catches him out when his cooldowns are down, it's going to be problems. But talking of problems, looking at the mid lane here, Garz is going to burn the ultimate as well. Jerby to fall, and there's Athena coming down shortly here. Weekend will have a pounce back. Will they dash forward for this? It doesn't look like it. The Cats just too strong of a deterrent at the 7.5-minute mark.
Yeah, and kind of a little bit late to the party here. And meanwhile, this entire time, Snoopy's getting super aggressive. Hits him with the backfire. He's got the turret right there, which is going to basically gobble up at least a couple of these creeps. And now look at the pressure in the mid lane. This could, if Incon dies, we could very well see a Gold Fury attempt here.
Yeah, it's not a bad call at this point. See, the only problem is Incontinentia's full health and HP, but he does have to clear out this wave. It doesn't look like Cockred is going to risk it. They're perfectly happy. Plus, the Hog 3s, are they online yet? We got to check in on Ionic here. And no, he's still sitting on Hog 1. No. So
the new UI, I figured, I was like, oh, man, that could be.
Yeah, our dots come in next patch.
Yeah, I was like, where's my dots? I need my dots. Take a look at the graphs here, though. I mean, 2,000 experience difference, 1,200 gold difference, all in favor of Cog Red. And we've actually seen a much different Cog Red this week than we've seen throughout the entire SPL, where They're fine. I think they realize that toe-to-toe they can take out anyone, so they just play it nice and slow.
Yeah. It's like they play a pretty loose style as well, it seems, in the last week. They've slowed down the pace a little bit, and they've kind of started picking gods that, well, are non-conventional, right, to say the least. I mean, they know they're secured, and I think they're kind of, I don't know if it's flexing their muscles or they're just kind of giving themselves a break. They've, just kind of saying, all right, guys, let's, pick what you want to play, and we'll put it together. But here, I mean, they still drafted a crazy team. Look at Divios and Boosh zoning out this blue buff here.
Well, Divios has been doing it basically
He's
all
just
by
baiting him
himself.
into it,
Yeah, he has no problem. Colossal Fury's going to get burned as well.
No way.
Wow.
He's going to burn the ultimate to pick it up. I mean, granted, that's one way to get Divios out of your jungle, but it does put Kiki back to full health, and he has the blue buff. I mean, honestly, strategically, it's not the worst timing possible, but still a sight to see.
They're going to miss one Harps here. This could quite very well be two, unless Incon can hand this. I don't know if it's available or not, and he's actually going to lose. He's going to get one and be like, okay, I got too greedy. And now you can see the grouping. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually see an invade coming out of Cog Red going for the Snipe speed buff. This is exactly how they basically played against Dignitas the other day. So, could see it. Not sure, though.
Divio's going to get a lot of damage here. He's still got several archers. Kiki just now getting enough mana to put that out. So he actually takes that Tier 1 tower down to half HP, and he does have that teleport, as we mentioned, online. Kiki has not invested into it yet. So if Divios is able to do a little bit more damage, he's going to be in a great spot. But here, Jeremy's on a rotation. I don't think that Divios has spotted this out yet. Yes, he has. He walks right past the ward there, and Divios turns tail. They realize that he's seen, and now Garz is going to try with the counterattack. And he's actually going to take the way around the Fire Giant, warding up here. But he's not going to be able to close the distance. This ward, they're nearly stacked up here just off of the blue side of the Fire Giant buff.
Oh, meanwhile, by the Gold Fury side of things, Ionic's going to have to peel here for Snoopy. Valkyrie's discretion. Weaken's going to be able to get one on Ionic. Snoopy, is he going to be able to stay alive? Here comes the Boosh. The Boosh has one. Can he find two? Woo! Allied versus the Boosh. This is going to be very hard for the Boosh. Look at his movement. Yeah, has such good positioning.
Well, now he knows that Allied's spells are down. Gar's going to try to close the distance. He has to hit the teleport here. Is he going to toss it? Where is it, Garz? You know you want to. Range stun coming through. Yes, he chases down the flame wave with the smoke, and Allied to fall with the beautiful CC chain coming out from Cog Red.
Jerby might
and now here's Divios. Jerby in a lot of trouble. Lawbringer to come out shortly. There it is. Boom! Jams it in, and here comes the rest of the chain. Divios waits out and baits the beads. What a player. Right there, you see why this guy is the best solo laner by record in North America.
Oh, God, yeah. Kiki now is just going to basically watch Cog Red take this Gold Fury. Is he going to go for the potential steal here? They're not even looking at him. He's going to get chained, and Boosh is going to do so much damage. Cog Red has the Gold Fury. Kiki now has to get out of here. He does have Incon coming on a rotation, so it's not the worst case scenario. But nonetheless, now as you take a look at the charts here, 4,600 XP, 3,500 gold. That is what we call a night.
Ooh. Weaken. He's in some trouble there, actually. He's going to survive just barely. Bacchus going deep to peel, using a shell as well. Earthshaker over the top. Ooh, look at the damage on Kiki. He's back to base now, and they're going to go in on Incontinentia. Divios, he ain't scared of no tower. And down you go, Bacchus. And here, the tier's been unleashed. He's going to start roaming the map. The solo lane has been forgotten now. Both of them forced out, and Divios has gotten a lot out of this rotation.
He only has a Rune-Forged Hammer right now. That's all he has. He's sitting on 2,100 gold in hand, Bart. He still hasn't gone back. He's going to get these mid-RPs and then go ahead and head back to the house, but
he's going to get boots, and what is he going to go into? Like, he's got so many options
He
here.
could do anything.
You can get Witchblade, Height of the Urchin.
Oh, he might have way more than that, as Jeremy's going to get caught in the chain. Fear no evil.
Ooh.
Rest in peace.
That one goes to Garz, though, but your boy, Divios.
Your boy.
Aye. I mean, this guy he's big. He's real big. 2,300 gold. Let's check it on net worth. So he's behind Garz by 100 gold still. That goes to show you just how farmed Garz has gotten in this game as well. But by GPM here, you have 99 minion kills on tier, 96 for Vulcan. Freya down at 79. That's how good that zoning has been. 20 CS ahead right now is Snoopy. That is some serious individual play.
What even God could even battle with Vulcan in the Hunter role? Wait, a Rom, maybe Apollo for
the Roms,
wave clear?
the Apollo, Neath, just people with solid wave clear, right?
Yeah.
Freya, just less reliable, forced, to rely on really one cooldown, and then if she doesn't clear at that point, she's going to be in trouble.
Well, Divios, he's going to grab a mace. Is he... Interesting. Doesn't want to spend any more. He's like, yeah, I'm content with this.
Yeah, he likes. Well, he's stacking pen, right? He's gonna get the pen boots up, and then he's gonna look for the Jotun's Wrath relatively soon here. I suppose it could be a Titan's Bane. Oh, Boosh porting forward here. Oh, and the bomb's raining down. Gars with a lot of damage. Athena's coming in as well. Incon is gonna be forced to leap. There's a surrender vote coming out. This one is looking hairy for Snipe. Derby in a lot of trouble. Divios, he will dodge the chain out, but there's a lot of damage here. Bead's still active. Kiki finds the kill onto the carry in the backside of the fight, but Boosh is here, and that's a lot of magic damage for Vamana to deal with. Jerby, he's going to have the beams back online, but Boosh continues to play aggressive here, now dashing out, and it's going to be tough to contest that. Beam just off the mark. Aegis forced. Divya still finds the kill. In the meantime, in the jungle, you have Allied running into Snoopy and Ionic. Ionic getting a little bit low, but it's going to be okay. Snoopy wants to continue pursuing this. Divios is here. It's bait. Yep, there we go. The stun's going to miss, but the bomb does hit. Ally not going to turn the corner, and the banish not going to be there. I'm not sure if they see Snoopy. Here comes a meatball. Here comes a fearless chain. Kiki very low. Allied's taken to the skies. Boosh can come through with another chain stun, but I'm not sure they can dive the tower. Earthshaker coming out a little bit off the mark. Forces Ally forward. Meatball going to miss, and Snoopy forced to bail. In the meantime, though, Ionic stole the orange buff.
Yep, and Weekend has to be very, very careful. We do see Ionic is going to be hanging around the side. He's not going to go for the peel. He knows Snoopy's going to be safe enough, so he's just going to go ahead and bow out gracefully. That is a very good fight. Snipe has no answer for what Cogred's throwing at them.
That was a long, long rotation from Snoopy there that took minutes to pay out, and they didn't even get anything for it, but just a lot of pressure and a lot of morale damage mostly.
Yeah, pretty much. And, dude, Divios, man, how do you handle someone who doesn't care about anything? He doesn't care about, right? Like,
yeah.
He's like Heath Ledger as the Joker. Like, he just doesn't care. He just wants to see destruction.
He's a pure being of entropy and chaos. He just wants to watch the world burn.
Exactly. He just dives towers, no worries.
He's going to get actually taunted out here, and there is going to be no more clear the path available. Kiki in a lot of trouble, going to be forced into the ultimate, but they should be able to burn him down easy peasy. Indeed, they can, and now they're going to turn their attention into Weekend. They're going to force a leap out of the kitty. Gars should be able to chase this one down relatively shortly. There's a taunt coming out from Ionic in just a moment. No, cats are going to be used, and they're going to go ahead and try to actually burn these down as well. Will Cog Red. They get a deep ward from Divios as well, and, well, one kitty is left all alone next to the ward with no one to chase.
Yep. 10,000 XP, make that 1,100 and 5,500 gold. This one is spiraling out of control for Snipe. Snipe has to either A, just decide, hey, guys, we should probably just turtle, but how can they, right? All their tier 1s are up, so they're not going to get any free farm by their tier 2s at all, at least for a wave. They can't really decide to freeze the wave because they'll get ganked. I don't know how you answer this, Bart.
It's all the lanes being won currently by Cog Red, and what was a pretty subtle advantage earlier on in this game has turned into a 13,000 experience difference in favor of the red team Cog Red here. And gold, 6,500, but that experience is very, very large. And we kind of saw this in the game earlier today as well. There's a tendency when you get your Guardian ahead by about 2 levels, which is where you see Ionic over the Bacchus of Incontinentia, you can really just pile in to that Bacchus over and over and over again. Divios is ported to a ward behind the fight. Weaken's here, but in comes the Athena as well. Divios misses the chain, and it doesn't look like we're going to get great initiation here, but Incon, and as you know, I just kind of called it out there. You see it happening. They just tee off on him because the Athena is so much more resilient. The Bacchus can't peel her.
No. They can't do anything. And the Boosh, people aren't even looking at Agni. They're just like, oh, whatever. He's going to come in, he's going to go ahead and use his ultimate, and then he just throws them Noxious Fumes, and then they're CC stunned, and there's nothing they can do about it. Now, Jerby and Weekend are like, okay, guys, I guess we can jump back into lane because that's a guaranteed Gold Fury. If they really wanted to, Cogred could have even went for Fire Giant there.
Mana's getting a little split push here going out as, well, Divios is going to dive the lane. They were looking for the chain, but there's an Aegis and Beads on Jerby. I mean, he's ready for this combo, but... Yep. You know, Ra, he may want to find, you know, a shell in these fights. He could be looking, you know, he could make some utility or maybe at least, you know, delay some of that gold so he doesn't get bullied in lane quite as bad, you know, forced into early actives.
And the other thing as well, I mean, he's got barely any damage. I mean, he's got a lost artifact and an uncommon sash for the Vampiric Shroud. All he really has is his Magi shoes. Like, he's not hitting hard. He's not healing for a whole bunch. He can't do anything. And as you take a look down here at Hunbots, who has now a shifter shield with his Jotuns, he's going to be a real problem to deal with. The Boosh is going to take a decent amount of damage from Jerby and Weekend, but he's still going to be able to stay in lane. It's heartbreaking right now for Snipe.
So Gars has pulled ahead significantly now from Divios, about 300 gold ahead. Last time we checked in, they were neck and neck, and well, 5-1 versus the 4-0 for tier. It just comes down to, once again, Gars, such an efficient jungler. And so good at finding that farm.
The thing that's nuts about Gars is that he opens up so much for his team. He basically is like, okay, guys, I have this going. Divio's actually in a little bit of trouble here. Weekend's going to jump in. Divio's starting to heal up. The great taunt by Ionic. He's going to be able to get out of there. And now will we see Gars rotate over there? He is going to be ready to go into the fight. He's got Fear No Evil. Searing Pain's going to do a decent amount of damage. Weekend's going to go down, and Colossal Fury's going to go ahead and chase him down.
Yeah, Snoopy's now rotated into the fight, and really what was off screen there that made that one go a bit better was the pressure coming out from Hunbots and Tyr in the mid lane onto Freya, forcing out that Valkyrie's discretion. And now Kiki's going to be in some trouble as Athena comes back in from the well. He's going to use the Aegis, and it's not going to be enough. Down goes the Vamana, and well, they've kept him very, very pinned down in this game. 1 and 2, not a lot of time to farm. You can see it looks like we're going to see Kiki building into Chins.
Wow, Allied, dude. They're just going in on him.
He has no ultimate, and they know it.
Yeah. They weren't able to kill him, which is rather surprising. Snoopy's going to go ahead and get a little bit aggressive. Throws that turret down very, very far to basically secure this tower. Almost.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to be able to continue on in here, no problem. And Iana can tank that one out at this stage in the game. Maybe a Gold Fury on the plate here. Again, coming up relatively soon, taking a look, about 2 minutes, 40 seconds. 2 of them already going to the side of Cog Red. It seems like they're maybe looking for another fight and then a Fire Giant, perhaps. This one feels like it's winnable for them right now.
Well, Weekend, no. Weekend cared way too much about his speed buff. He could be in a little bit of trouble. Gars, though, he did Aegis here. He's got kind of allied in front of him. Snoopy's going to be in the back line. Is he going to continue to chase? You can see, I mean, he does a lot of damage as this monkey.
He was feeling strong there. One thing I like to see out of Cog Red, though, more wards in their inventories with that teleport to wards for Divios. He has it. And, well, it's on 40-second cooldown still, but, it'd be great to see them having a ward really all the time so that they can bring him in at will. And it looks like Garziani's going to go back, look for those wards to come out. I mean, 20 minutes in the game, every player should be buying wards anyway, but it's especially useful when you have a tier that can cross the map instantly.
Yeah, that makes a little bit of a difference. That, justifies it to Snoopy, right? It's like, okay, well, I am the hunter, man. And then it's like, well, you realize you can get a kill if you just place a ward and Tyr can port in. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. So the ward coverage here is a little bit different here when you're taking a look. I mean, Snipe is still trying to keen in here on the Gold Fury, whereas all money of gold spent is going to be from Cog Red on the Fire Giant side of things.
Well,
they're not worried at all by that.
They are not. No. They're not, there's not a lot of concern coming out from Cog Red altogether, it seems like, here today. They found a very good early lead, and they've put this just ridiculous team comp, this ridiculous CC-based team comp to use really well. And even like the Bacchus, look at him. Bacchus is a tough character to lock down and prevent from belly flopping and like actually securing the kill on, and it's just easy.
Yeah, and Gars is still going in. Divios, my God, Jerby, you are in a lot of trouble. The Aegis is going to force out there. Booch is going to be able to get that one. Kiki's going to be there as well. Divios taking out him. This team comp is insane.
It covers distance really well and has a lot of CC, and they're going to get a free Fire Giant from this one.
I truly believe this is why we see Cog Red on the top at all times, because they're theory crafting. They always try new things. They try to figure out what works best for them. Whereas other people are like, okay, let's just switch up our jungle.
Yeah, right. In the meantime here, Weekend has used Cats to try to pressure the Tier 1 and trade it for the Fire Giant. Obviously, not going to be ideal, but Divios, well, remember that teleport to towers and wards. He just runs right back, clears out the Cats, and is going to push the lane back in the other direction here now. And, well, the push should come on this side as Cog Red look for them to kind of move to the left side of the map here, try to take these towers down furthest away from the Fire Giant, get some map control.
Yeah, and notice how they got that Fire Giant mainly just because they fought by the Fire Giant. They knew Allied was all the way, or Weekend, excuse me, was all the way over in the duo lane, so they were like, okay, the only person who could possibly come up, we're not worried about because we have 4 of us here.
22 minutes, 30 seconds here is 19-4 in favor of Cog Red. The graphs have continued to plummet down towards the red side. We're looking at a 22,000 experience difference right now between these two teams. 11,000 XP. I'm sorry, 11,000 gold in this one. And well, let's take a look at the assists here. This one really tells the story of the game. 7 assists on 4 kills for Snipe. 39 on 19 for Cognitive Red. You know, they've been swarming and it's been working.
Yep. And now here's one thing that's really, really funny is, you know, we always talk about Boosh being the superstar, right? What do superstars do? They don't buy wards. And Boosh hasn't bought a single
goose egg
ward.
Right there.
He hasn't bought a single ward. Now, as you take a look at the player damage, should be no shocker here. Gar's leading the way at 16,000. Great googly boogly.
Yeah, that's fast. At 23 minutes, and he has big items, as you can see there. Gars sitting on just the shifter shield alone, and now the extra crit percentage coming out. A lot of raw damage, and now the bonus damage. Gold Fury does go to Cognitive Red, easy peasy there. And Divios, well, he's doing what Tyr does best at this stage in the game. When he's ahead in the mid game, he just kind of fights your whole team.
When is the last time you saw a Vamana just get bullied like that?
The last time I saw Tyr played. You got to remember, Divios has a couple losses on Tyr. One of them comes off of DQ, right? So, like, and they were winning that game hard. He is extremely successful with this god. The fight continues to rage on under the Tier 2 here. You know, there's not a lot committed here so far by Cog Red. Divios did go down, but I think they kind of expected that considering how he was playing. And Snoopy's pressured and pushed the left side lane all the way up. They rotate into the jungle right as the Vulcan comes in to do a lot of that damage. Now they're going to try to do a little damage to the Tier 2 again. Yannick just tanking it to show he can, I think, at this point.
Yeah, and Weekend actually split push. He was able to get a Tier 2 there. It's not completely over for them. They're showing a little bit of life, but there's really only one more massive team fight here. We have about 3 more minutes here on the Fire Giant buff here for Cognitive Red, so they're going to be able to cut through towers, phoenixes that much quicker, as well as have that constant buff. So if you are a fan of Snipe, they need to win this next team fighter. It might be curtains for him.
Let's talk about Pestilence pickup here on Tyr.
Okay.
It's the perfect item for him in this situation. He's ahead, he has his cooldown reduction, he has a lot of HP stacked up, some decent pen as well. And then he picks up Magical Protection, which he didn't have any of to suit, another 300 health, and a anti-heal aura. So he can just stick right in the fight and just keep that aura active on the Ra and the Vamana, shutting out 20% of their healing, and he's been doing that. I mean, you look at his playstyle, it's been exactly that. He's going to come over the top now with the Lawbringer as the fight is happening under the Phoenix.
What a
Continental
juggle.
already taken about half of his HP, Allied forced into the air now as Cognitive Red. They've made a lot of room, but here's the kind of weakness of not having that physical damage hunter on your side is that Snoopy does not take towers very quickly, and Tyr is not a fast hit chain style of character or big in-hander. In-con, it looks like he's going to go down here. Yes, Snoopy with the last in-hand. And doesn't really matter, though, if you can just push them away. Blinking forward now. Here comes Agni. He's looking for the kill on Kiki. And he's going to get it with the dot. Cheeky play from Boosh.
Very cheeky. Weekend. Yep, Gars is going to take him out. Allied's going to be here as well. And they might go down. Jerby is in a pretty bad spot here. He's able to get right back in here. The meatball might force him out of the fountain, though, but this is looking like a good old-fashioned GG.
Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to prevent this. Only thing that's really looking good for Snipe here is that Cog Red doesn't have a lot of HP remaining on these characters, but Jeremy not going to be able to put out much damage. He's going to go down as well. Divios, like we said, sticking to him, making sure that heal doesn't come out. There's the deicide, and here comes the minion streaming in with 2 Phoenixes down at 26 minutes. Cognitive Red is going to take this one over Snipe, 26-6 as the Earthshaker comes through to seal the deal. Well played by the #1 seed in North America.
There's a couple things that are absolutely terrifying. And the 2 things are both in the graphs. 30,000 XP difference.
30,000.
17,000 gold difference.
Now, I've seen 20,000 gold leads. I don't know when the last time I saw a 30,000 experience lead at the end of a game.
What does that even mean?
It means that almost everybody on the side of Cog Red is level 20. Athena sitting at 19. And you have level 16s, 2 of them on the side of Snipe. It's just a huge gap.
That's not good. Well, taking a look at the player damage here, which is what we love. Divya's doing 20,000, the Boosh doing 20,000, Gar's doing 21,000. And see, that is where the fall off is for Snoopy not picking a traditional hunter. You know, he's only doing 15,000, but he locked down his lane. He basically is saying, I want to just lock down the enemy hunter.
Like I think the picking Freya into Vulcan, kind of for the reasons we stated, with that haste and fatalis, like really wanting that to be her primary damage source, he can just peel away from her by himself in ways that really other hunters can't do. Like a lot of times you'll see, like, you know, Rom will backflip or something to make some distance. She can pick that up with a sprint. Same thing with like an Apollo dash, perhaps. Apollo, you know, pretty wily though, not quite an escape artist as we mentioned. But well, that one is it's all in favor of Cog Red, and in that game with 54 assists on 26 kills.
Insane. Well, this is probably one of the first times we've seen the Boosh play Agni, and that of course means Boosh highlight reel.
Yeah, this one is dirty. This fight here especially. This is where, you know, you see the mid laners in these games more and more frequently, especially when they're playing burst initiators like Agni or Scylla, buying blinks when they get a little bit ahead. Like the minute they think that they're ahead enough to take a risk, it's right into blink because it does move into combat blink later, which is a relatively decent kind of damage, or I'm sorry, escape item later in the game. But you see just how well that early blink worked for Boosh in this engagement.
Well, you can just tell by Boosh's positioning. I mean, he's just always in the right spot. He's just waiting for his Noxious Fumes to kind of come online here, and there it is. And then he's able to get that kill there, and now he's just crushing. I mean, it's very scary when you can't ban him out. His god pool's insane.
Yeah, it just looks like he played a limited number of gods originally just because he liked them better. He seems to be just as good with really anybody you put him on. But it's kind of the case for Red as a whole.
Here.
Yeah,
Just
this was a nasty bait. In comes the Vulcan as well. Yeah, done. Chasing down that flame wave with the noxious fumes. It's a really quick input. You have to commit 100%. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it does sound like that is going to be the end of the broadcast for today. Thurst unable to field a team.
Well, is it really shocking?
I mean, at 1-17, no one really would blame them for throwing in the towel.
Well, they haven't had a consistent team in
ever.
Right. I think I started here on September 2nd, and since then they've never had a consistent team.
They have 9 members on their roster, the max allowed, and couldn't get 5 of them together here today. And, well, as you can see,
that is the current standings.
We've just decided to flip the table. It's going to be random roll for the tournament now. But it's a loss for Thurst. It's going to be a win awarded over to Dignitas. So Dignitas had to win out to continue pressuring Cog Prime. And they have to beat Cog Prime as well. Let's take a look at the schedule for tomorrow, where we will have 4 games.
Nice.
Kind of a strange day today, but it's Sunday starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's about 22 hours from now or so. It's going to be Cloud9 HyperX versus Team Solo Mid. This game doesn't have much effect on the standings, but it is 2 great teams from Europe going after each other. Mortality Esports and Exposed
That's a big one.
Secrets. That game has some implications for the first place seed in Europe.
Yep, and it will also potentially the second place seed as well. So if Mortality loses and Team Solo Mid wins, Team Solo Mid will have a tiebreaker with Mortality depending on what their head-to-head record is. But if Mortality wins, they are tied with Exposed Secrets for the number 1 spot. So that's big. Now, when we take a look at the other side here, Team Dignitas going up against Cognitive Prime, they have to win this game.
It's a big one.
And then I believe it goes to a head-to-head record with Snipe.
Yeah, it's tied. It's all square.
Oh, it's tied right now.
Yeah, it's 2-2.
Wow. That's
Dignitas actually has to win that game, and that they get a secured 3rd seed out of that. If not, if they lose this game versus Cog Prime, they go into a tiebreaker with Snipe. So it's a big game here. This is definitely the game of the week. Team Dignitas versus Cognitive Prime. Sunday night, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is the scheduled start time for that one, guys. You definitely don't want to miss that. The coverage is going to be brought to you by Dry Bear and Mr. Gandhi here. Really looking forward to watching that game.
It's going to be a doozy. I mean, we have to see Dignitas show up. They haven't done that recently.
They don't get a rep today,
But the problem is like we're kind of judging, like obviously the Dignitas versus Snipe game was fantastic, right? Like that was an amazing game, amazing series, but like we're judging Dignitas based on like how they performed versus Cog Red, but Cog Red just did the exact same thing to Snipe.
Cog Red does that to everybody.
Yeah, that seems how it is now. I can't wait to see Cog Red versus Cog Prime.
But Dignitas has beaten Cog Red before. In the Smite Pro League, they did take 1 game off of them. One of the more successful tries against the team. Really where it looked like Dignitas had turned the corner and really gotten it, the old form back. Well, we'll see if they can do it again one more time versus Cog Prime tomorrow, guys. 4 games starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's going to do it for us here today, though. From North America in Atlanta, I'm hi-rez Bart. That's Scott Gandhi, and we will see you next time for more of the Smite Pro League. Our final day is tomorrow.